top focus, celebrations have been cut short for Thalapathy Vijay and his fans. The much anticipated Jana Nayagan, widely billed as Vijay's final film, will not release on the 9th of January as planned, which is tomorrow. This comes after the Madras High Court reserved its order on a petition challenging the CBFC's decision to withhold the censor certificate. The makers say the release has been postponed due to unavoidable circumstances, with new dates to be announced soon. Meanwhile, Congress MP Madikam Tagore took to X backing Jana Nayagan, slamming the centre over curbs on cinema, saying Article 19 guarantees free speech, not political clearance. Congress MP Jyotimati has also spoken out, alleging that censor board has become a political weapon and called the situation an attack on Tamil film industry. The court order is expected tomorrow. If cleared, certification could follow within 24 to 72 hours, paving the way for a release only after the 12th of this month. Joining me live, Vasudha Venugopal, political editor, NDTV. I also have Veera Raghav live with me and Vijay. All three of them will be focusing on this big news from down south for the next few minutes. Veera, I want to start with you. While we do know that the censor board has raised objections, there's more to this picture than what is being claimed. Perhaps a proxy political war.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, this is not about a film, right? This is about the larger political connotation. And Vedika, while you were pointing just now to what the Congress has said about the censor board or the certification board, there's also one big question. Why is the TVK silent on the ground? As a political party, the TVK has not spoken out on the issue. In fact, repeated requests from us to have spokespersons from the TVK join our show have been met with a simple response. The matter is before the court, and as a party, we don't want to politicize this. So there are multiple dimensions at play, perhaps waiting for this to allow for the narrative to build up of the film being targeted or Vijay being targeted. And also remember, from a film point of view, Parashakti, which is going to be an enormously powerful DMK propaganda machine movie, as is being spoken about, because it's something that revolves around 1960s anti-Hindi agitation, is hitting the theaters on the 10th of January. So how this is going to play out, both at the box office and otherwise in terms of the political surround sound, will be closely watched.
Also, I have with me Vasudha and Vijay. Vasudha, I want to go to you for a minute. You have the Congress really hitting out at this point. Like Veera pointed out, TVK has been absolutely silent. What's really playing behind the scenes is the big question right now. While we talk about this movie release being stalled, at least for the next few days, politics really having a lot of indications within on what could be alliances in the near future.
That's right, Vedika. In fact, I came to Chennai last night and I was expecting fans to be completely frenzied today. But what I saw was a set of very well-behaved fans, because like Veera was pointing out, while there's disappointment and anxiety, there's also hope and optimism amongst the fans of Vijay that there will be a favorable verdict tomorrow. Remember, the court has reserved its verdict. And like Veera was also pointing out, the political landscape is likely to change because Parasakti is getting released in the next 2 days. The certificate is expected to come today, is what our sources have told us, and that is one movie that not just looks at the anti-Hindi sentiment, but also looks at invoking the Tamil sentiment. So that is something that the DMK will hope to use thoroughly out and out for the next 3 months, and that is going to have a lot of impact. So it's not just going to be a war of politicians, but also war of cinema on many count. And Jana Nayagan's release date is not known yet. We'll get to know that tomorrow. And even when the court gives out its verdict, it's very clear that it will only in some ways nudge the CBFC to do its job. The CBFC has made it very clear there'll be another expert screening panel with defense experts. So that is going to take some time. So how is this going to play out politically is going to be important, because Vijay will make it very clear that he is being targeted not just by the ruling party in Tamil Nadu, but also by the centre, because he is looking at CBFC as synonymous with the centre here.
Right, and Vijay also joining us live from the ground. Vijay, if you look at the promo, if you look at the teaser of this movie, you can obviously draw parallels between Vijay's life and what he wants to show on screen. This was his swan song on reel. How are the fans reacting to this? Vasudha gave us a bit of a glimpse of how they've been responding, but what's the mood on the ground?
No, fans were really excited for the movie because this is said to be the last movie, farewell movie for actor turned politician Vijay, because he's entered politics. So this is said to be the last movie. And remember what happened on audio launch? It was a grand event in Malaysia where the fans, even Vijay gave a emotional speech. It was like full of tears. They played a they played AV for Vijay where they dedicated many songs, and it was like a farewell day for Vijay in cinema, because Vijay had announced that this would be his last movie. But amid this now it faces legal battles where the release is getting delayed. So this had disappointed fans in lot, because on social media they had started to blame both the BJP and DMK government over this. Even though, like Veera mentioned, TVK had to respond officially. Even after we tried to spoke with many spokespersons, they refused to comment on that. But however, TVK cadre and few functionaries and Vijay fans were reacting on social media over this issue. They were like, they're expressing their disappointment over this. But as far as trailer is concerned, the movie will set a political tone for Vijay ahead of 2026 election. From the name, we can understand this is a strong political subject movie. And from the trailer, we able to get the movie speaks about the women empowerment also. Even though some says it is like some sort of remake of Telugu film, but however, H. Vinod clarified saying that he had many political dialects for Vijay to add mileage ahead of 2026 election. So it would be interesting to see how this would play a very big role ahead of 2026 election. But like Vasudha mentioned, all eyes on Madras High Court. What would be the judgment from the court on January 9?
All right, to our correspondents, do stay with me for a moment, because I want our viewers to understand what's caused the trouble. Why has this movie been stalled? Firstly, it seems that a member of the censor board has raised objections, is what we've got to know, to parts and content of the movie. The objection raised to use on the use of the defense emblem is what we are being told, and there's a need for an expert to review. This movie has been flagged as a concern. There's also objections to some communal scenes, is what NDTV has learnt in this movie. And also there are objections on too much violence, and after cuts, producers were told they will get that UA certification. So some of the reasons by the censor board mentioned there. But going back to Veera and Vasudha at this point, Veera, I want to come to you first. The big picture really, what next legally and politically?
Well, very briefly, Vedika, before I answer that question, that graphic that you played out is based on what's transpired at the court in terms of the submissions before the court.
Yes.
So it's actually on record that on 22/12, the producers have said that they had received indication that they would get a UA certificate. This is after scenes that were violent and cuts that was proposed by the certification board was made. So the producers have contended that they were told that they would get a UA certificate. Now, what we believe happened is, post that, one of the members of the censor board had flagged that there was the use of defense emblem and that there were some communal scenes, and there was a need for an expert to review it before giving final clearance, and hence the clearance or the certification was delayed. Now, obviously, the Madras High Court will deliver its verdict, perhaps giving a time frame, and I think the future of Jana Nayagan and when it would be released would be based on that. Having said that, the other part of the question that you're talking about is that there is a genuine concern both within the DMK, across the political forces, that a perception of Vijay being targeted by the system or his film being targeted by the system may be difficult for the film, but politically for Vijay, it will only bolster his narrative of the challenger. So there is a sense that any kind of targeting of Vijay will only strengthen him further in the public narrative and the political narrative, especially because of the emotive fan base that he has, that you have seen. So several political connotations. And the other thing that the DMK strategists are worried about is also the fact that if a DMK-backed film, or at least a film seen as close to the DMK, which is Parashakti, gets the clearance and releases, and a Vijay film is not released, that could possibly add to further narrative. So multiple dimensions at play. We'll have to wait for the Madras High Court order to see how this plays forward.
All right. And Vasudha, before I let you go, why the silence by Vijay? Why the silence by the TVK? Is this going to work in their favor is the big question. Are they just wanting the release of the movie because of which they're quiet at this point?
I think Vedika, like Veeda pointed out, they're just waiting to see what happens to Parasakti because we're told that the certificate would come today. And, that changes the whole narrative because it would be seen as the CBFC certification board giving clearance, a green signal to a DMK-backed movie and stalling the clearance of Vijay's movie. So Vijay could use this for his own advantage and, go to town to saying that, he is the actual, anti-incumbent and the person who, needs to come to power. So that will be very important. And the way DMK will also use Parasakti will be interesting to see because, like Veera was pointing out, it invokes the Tamil sentiment and it's a deeply politicized political movie. And while it was being seen as a war of movies, it's very clear that now it's going to be a war of not just two parties, but three parties now, with the center also being vilified, not just by Vijay, but also by the DMK, if depending on what happens to Parasakti's clearance.
Stay with me at this point while we bring you some breaking news also coming in. We're being told that Tamil director Karthi Subbaraj calls for Save Cinema, Save Art. New debate over censorship needs reformation is what we're being told. That's the breaking news coming in. I have Vijay, who's also joining me live on that breaking news. All right, before we go to Vijay, I'm being told that Vasudha is also with us. We have a Tamil director, Vasudha, Karthi Subbaraj, who's coming out and urging unity despite the fan war. What can you share with us on this? All right, seems that the line with Vasudha has disconnected there. Let's go across to Vijay. Vijay, if you can just tell us more about what the Tamil director is saying, calling for Save Cinema, Save Art.
That's right. Very famous Tamil director Karthi Subbaraj had posted a tweet saying that he questioned that there is a need for reformation on terms of censorship. He said that the censorship puts a lot of pressure on filmmakers, especially the post-production, which affects the creativity of the filmmakers. He pointed out that all the film fraternity, despite fan war, despite political differences, should unite against this and should give voice for the filmmakers, for the better, to save the art, to save the cinema. Amid the Jana Nayagan issue, he had posted this tweet saying that the timeline of censorship affects the filmmakers in terms of creativity, and need for reformation is a must.
Stay with me, Vijay, because there seems to be a chorus of people who are now coming out and urging for the movie to be released at this point, obviously, and creativity being affected is a concern as well. Just take us through some of the big voices coming out, if any, on the stay on the release of the movie for now, and how there seems to be a section that's backing Vijay beyond the politicians.
Yeah, that's right, Vedika. As of now, only Congress leaders like Manikam Thakur, Jyoti Mani, and even Congress functionary Praveen Chakravarti had blamed the central government, BJP-led central government, over the issue. And even we have a BJP leader, Narayanan Tripadi, to speak more on this. So thank you for your time. Congress blames central government. BJP government is doing politics over this in line to using CBI, IT, now using censor board against the freedom of expression. What's your BJP reaction to it?
See, the day before yesterday, we have seen that Mr. Manik Thakur's and Jyoti Mani's tweet regarding Congress party itself and their alliance. They had a displeasure on the party and also against the alliance. So in order to hide those things, they are trying to write something accusing the CBFC. CBFC has got its own set of procedures, rules, regulations duly followed. As a member of CBFC, previously, I served a CBFC.
Yes, you actually...
Yeah. I served a CBFC for more than 3 years. So I know how they do it. So there is nobody can pressure anyone. It acts according to the laws framed by the government, and also the people like, member of parliaments who created the act. It goes only with the act. So nobody can pressurize or influence that. Mr. Manikam Tagore also knows. But in order to, suppress their problems within the internal party issues, they are trying to accuse the CBFC, which is not true.
So, but the production house blames saying that they are CBFC deliberately delaying in giving the censorship because even though they initially refer the certificate as U by A16 plus, then suddenly the chairman of the CBFC turned saying that one of the member raised the objection. Why not before itself they didn't do that?
No, that's what I told you. It has got its own policies and created by the lawmakers, that is the member of parliament. So nobody can, accuse the CBFC if I am right, because if you do it properly, even as I told you, I was a member of CBFC for so many years, and the people who say that CBFC is trying to control, see, I'm telling you very seriously, many movies carry so many filthy dialogues, which as a member, we used to struggle to delete it for more than hours together, for the sake of the society, for the welfare of the future younger generations. So it is not so. It is the duty. Each and every member works very hard, to concentrate a movie and do all those things. So it is not true that the CBFC pressurizes or something. No, it is not. It has got its own system. It will certify a movie, or if it is not satisfied, it will recommend for a review. Even they have got, the production houses got many choices, many options also to go for appeal, to go to the court. Even recently we saw one High Court's Honorable Justice saw one movie. So we all know that.
But there are some voices saying that there is a need for reformation in terms of censorship from Jyothimani, now director Karthi Subraj had flagged.
Reformations are needed in each and everything, every part of the society. Within human also, reformations are needed in the cinema industry also. That is what I told you.
All right, we also want to tell our viewers at this point, what next? What are we expecting in the next few days? What we're being told is that the order on the CBFC certification will be pronounced tomorrow, which is the 9th of January. If the release is ordered, the CBFC, which is the censor board, will issue the certification. Issuing the certification may take about 24 to 72 hours, which means a day to about 3 days. And then the film will release without any legal hurdles post the 12th of January. That's more or less the timeline given the hearing, the order that we're expecting tomorrow from the court. Also, what are the scenarios that we are looking at is very important at this point. The first scenario is the High Court orders CBFC to issue certification on the 9th of January, which is tomorrow, after which we've told you about the timeline of events. The film releases in couple of days after, 2 to 3 days is what we're expecting. Scenario 2, the High Court seeks more cuts or specific disclaimers in this movie, because of which obviously the release will be delayed. Pongal weekend will be missed, which will be a huge blow for Vijay and his team. The third one is the legal battle continues in court, and the release, of course, is further pushed back. Vijay now joins me again on those scenarios, on the timeline there. Vijay, understanding from you, this movie could release if we get the nod from the court tomorrow, but not before the 11th or 12th of January, which means they will miss that weekend, all-important weekend?
That's right. Production house is very keen to release the movie just before the Pongal holidays, considering the high budget movie, and the expectation for the movie is also very high. So they don't want to take a chance with missing the holidays. But remember, the next week, if they miss the Pongal holidays, the next weekend would be a Republic Day from January 26th, and before that on Jan 23, Sun Pictures is planning to re-release the actor Ajit's Mangata also. So this would force the Jana Nayagan without getting more theatres, because Sun Pictures is a very huge production house, and they will capture more theatres in terms of actor Ajit is also a big competitor to Vijay. Even though that is a re-release, Jana Nayagan will struggle to get the theatres from the Sun Pictures. So they are very keen to release the movie once the court pronounced the order. They are very keen to release the movie immediately. But as of now, yesterday itself they released a press release from the production house where they had mentioned that after the court order, they would announce the release date. So
All right.
they are looking forward. They are looking for a good date with some sort of weekend and holidays.
All right. Thanks for joining me live, Vijay. That is our top focus. Every development will be reported here on Breaking Ground on NDTV 24/7.